I'd like to talk a little bit about financial accounting versus managerial accounting. And I promise this will be the last thing we do before we get involved into the nitty-gritty of the log annex. But it's also important for you to understand what we're doing in this process. Financial accounting is accounting that's used to report on things in the organization for external actors. In our case, for headquarters, finance, donors, other governments, and often it's for tax purposes. We use it for donor accountability, and it tends to be a high-level overview and often dictated by international accounting standards. Now, why do you need to know what financial accounting is? Well, because we're not going to be using that in the log annex. What we're going to be using is something called managerial accounting. And what that is managerial accounting is a form of accounting that's internal to the organization. It's not required by law, and it's something that the organization chooses to do rather than is required to do. In our case, we're going to use the log annex as a form of managerial accounting, which means that it will be a detailed view of individual budget families that allow us to run our department and make orders more easily. Finance doesn't care how many light bulbs you need per month or year, but you definitely do. They only care about what the overall costs are. This version, the log annex, is a micro version of the financial follow-up to the finance department's macro accounting. So it's a much more in-depth look at what we need to run our activities for logistics. If you have any questions about financial accounting versus managerial accounting, have a look at Google. There's some great accounting websites out there, and they give a very good overview of which one does what and why we use a certain one. It's important for you to know that we're using managerial accounting, which in this case takes the form of the log annex, which is a detailed overview of everything that we need, much more detailed than the finance department needs, but exactly what you need and we need to run your departments efficiently.